because of gays and because of God, the three G's, God being the woman's right to choose. That is softening. Some of those people were never going to be voting Democratic anyway.
This is not the first time we've heard this theory. Back in 2008, then Senator Barack Obama made similar remarks on the campaign trail about working class people who live in economically depressed areas. And then he said this.
It's not surprising then that they get bitter and they cling to guns or religion or antipathy towards people who aren't like them, or anti-immigrant sentiment, or anti-trade sentiment. And a way to explain their frustrations.
And President Obama brought it up again in an interview last December.
Particularly blue-collar men have had a lot of trouble in this new economy where they're no longer getting the same bargain that they got when they were going to a factory and able to support their families on a single paycheck. You combine those things, and it means that there's going to be potential anger, frustration, fear. I think somebody like Mr. Trump's taken advantage of that. That's what he's exploiting during the course of his campaign.
Lenny, let's set your remarks about Donald Trump aside for just a second and just concentrate on where we are in this country and the healing that needs to be done in many senses. You can talk about race relations, you can talk about economic situation, people needing jobs and so forth. That kind of talk doesn't do that healing. Your thoughts?
I agree. I don't like the comment because it's a generalization. I know a lot of working class white men who are progressive, who believe in the minimum wage, the right to collective bargaining, and now, over a period of time, have accepted gay marriage. So I think the generalization is bad, but more importantly, Hillary Clinton is going to focus on genuine grievances by white men, as well as white and women of color, and that is there are people who are economically insecure, and she needs to tell them what she'll do to help them. That's why I've emphasized in all my comments, and I'd like to thank all of you for being so kind to me so far.
You're sweet.
That she needs tonight to tell the American people this is about you. And Donald Trump did that, but then follow it up by saying, here are the specific solutions I have in mind, and I need Republicans to work with. That's, to me, the best message of all.
And Julie, what I hear Lonnie saying is that this doesn't help her with that cause of trying to get white men. In fact, Nancy Pelosi is not acting like a friend in this sense.
It's a counterproductive statement to make. And by the way, it's not because of the whole phrase God, guns, and gays was actually from 2004, which is what the Bush campaign was running on, if you recall, to try to get their coalition to come out. So she didn't invent the phrase. But I will say it's a very unhelpful statement for the following reason. Lonnie's right. It's not because of what she's talking about. It's really because of the fact that they feel disenfranchised economically.
She needs to reach out
I get where they're coming from. Listen, when Donald Trump stands up and says, believe me, I will bring jobs back here, I will bring back manufacturing, just believe me and I'll do it, they hear it and they appreciate it. And I understand that. What she needs to spell out is not only that she's going to do it, but how she's going to do it and draw that contrast.
And that was Nancy Pelosi said that in that very same interview. She said that it's incumbent upon Mrs. Clinton to put forth a strong economic agenda to mitigate her problems with the voting bloc.
Thank you. And the half of that.
But where is she going to go with that? I mean, is she going to talk about trickle-down economics again? Because that's where Nancy Pelosi went.
Look, I'll just start with one proposal you'll hear her talk about tonight.
That we've got it all wrong. And
infrastructure, bridges, roads, airports, people back to work with the private sector as a partner in investing and public-private partnerships. She is not someone who stands for big government. She believes, as a U.S. Senator, she had very good working relationships with the private sector, and she believes in public-private partnerships on infrastructure investments.
No, I understand that. She goes after Donald Trump for his bankruptcies. Rightly so. I mean, that is an area of suspicion that he has yet to overcome. Yet she wants all students to default on their debt and then shift that to the American taxpayer to pay for college. That's a big government program. A $15 federally mandated minimum wage. That hurts small businesses. They'll have to lay people off, rely on fewer workers and automation. That hurts minorities.
You're right in the reservations, but she actually does not stand for default of student debt. She stands for refinancing.
All right.
There's not.
She certainly would agree with you on that.
I want to cover just quickly with you and Julie, Lanny, is this idea with the coal miners and how much trouble she got in, Hillary Clinton, when she stepped in that. So, I mean, that's the class, that's the working class, those white men that she needs to reach out to, and she's already managed to tick them off this
Well,
season.
so I spent a lot of time with these union guys, a lot of whom are considering voting for Trump, as a lot of them consider voting for Republicans.
Well, he
unions
reached
are not
out to
monolith.
them.
Well, no, but this is not a monolith, the Democratic monolith that people think, these iron workers, these Teamsters, people like that. You tell them about a $15 minimum wage, they're not going to think it's going to eradicate their small business. They are dying. They don't have the money with which to live. They don't have infrastructure projects to work on. When you don't have projects to work on, you financially die.
Right.
That's what needs to
I'm
happen.
going to give Julie the last word and move on.
The Rust Belt has been
Exactly.
absolutely decimated.
We're going to give
in
Julie
large
the last
part
word and
because
move on.
of unions.
Democrats are sharpening their attacks now after Donald Trump appeared to encourage Russia to find Hillary Clinton's deleted emails. But now Trump is hitting back, saying he was being sarcastic and the real issue is being ignored. Plus, right after the show, Lanny wants to talk during my tease. I'm going to give you a chance, I promise, when we come back from the commercial. That's all right. We're going to cook up more. Outnumbered on the web. Right after the TV version of us wraps up, you can join our live chat by clicking the Overtime tab at foxnews.com/outnumbered. We can't wait for you to do that. And then you'll find Overtime on Facebook Live at the same time. Top of the hour. Join in on the conversation. Stay close.
All right, Democrats wasting no time pouncing on that comment yesterday after Donald Trump was asked about Russia possibly hacking the DNC's emails. Clinton's campaign says Trump was encouraging espionage. Now, meantime, Trump tells Fox and Friends he was being sarcastic with that remark, and the real issue is being ignored.
Of course I'm being sarcastic, and they don't even know, frankly, if it's Russia. They have no idea if it's Russia, if it's China, if it's somebody else. Who knows who it is? But you have 33,000 emails deleted. And the real problem is what was said on those emails from the Democratic National Committee. You take a look at what was said on those emails. It's disgraceful.
All right. Well, it appears that Jake Sullivan opened Pandora's box by pinning the whole thing on Russia as opposed to encouraging the DNC to take responsibility for some of the content of those emails. And I think the reason that Democrats are pouncing on this is because they're worried. He might be right. They're worried that perhaps Russian hackers do have possession of those deleted emails.
Well, that's not my reason, so let me give you my reaction. First of all, what you saw was a serious comment. He wasn't joking, inviting a foreign power to engage in cyber warfare and to interfere in our election. Secondly, what he wasn't joking about is his statement many times that he admires Vladimir Putin. What he wasn't joking about was disparaging John McCain for getting caught as a POW. What he wasn't joking about was disparaging a federal judge because of his Mexican heritage. The problem is, I wish he were joking. This man is serious when he insults everyone, including all his fellow Republicans.
All right. So his spokesperson, Katrina Pearson, was on with Megyn Kelly last night, and she said the way that we know that he was joking. He included the line, quote, "The press will thank you for it. It's more tongue-in-cheek." And in fact, when you watch it, you could see that yourself.
Actually, I saw him being quite serious, but I also, was he serious when he disparaged John McCain?
But
was he serious when he insulted
let's get back
a
to
federal
just
judge?
point about
This man is unfortunately
But
serious.
you know that he does not have the faith, and many people don't, that that she will be pressed by the mainstream media, some in the mainstream media, on the emails.
Well,
and so it was tongue-in-cheek to say the press will thank you for it, because there's a disingenuous notion that that would actually ever happen.
He admires and says he admires Vladimir Putin, and then in a serious manner he invites Vladimir Putin's, and by the way, the intelligence agencies of our government, the CIA and the NSA, have said that this comes from Russian hackers who have been identified by the trail of metadata. So there's no doubt about that.
Let me just jump. Can I just jump in on this? Let me just prosecute the case against him the same way Chris Christie wanted to prosecute the case against Hillary Clinton. One, Paul Manafort, his chief advisor, on the payroll of his puppet in Ukraine, on the payroll of a bunch of Russian oligarchs. Two, he had business interests with a very favorite oligarch of Putin's when they wanted to bring Trump Tower to Moscow. Three, tweeting, "Will Vladimir Putin be my best friend?" Maybe that was a joke. I don't make jokes about being best friends with despots. Four, wants to abrogate Article 5 of NATO unless they pay some sort of bounty or tribute. So when tanks start rolling into Latvia, I would be very curious to see whether, in fact, he would wait until Latvia FedEx some money over before he defended our NATO allies. None of that is a joke.
Okay, but
none of it.
Here's the thing, though. I think the Clintons are so worried about this connection with Russia because they've got one, because of the Uranium One deal, where Bill Clinton was paid $500,000 for a speaking fee by a Russian bank with ties to the Kremlin at a time when a friend of his, Frank Giustra, donated in 4 donations $2.35 million to the Clinton Foundation to consolidate 20% of the world's uranium in Russian hands. So therefore, I mean, that's a much stronger connection
Republicans
to
are
Russia and the Russian
You got to give me a chance for one sentence response. What you just said is factually inaccurate, and the multi-agency.
That's according to the New York Times. That is according to the New York Times.
No, it is not according.
Yes, it is. It absolutely
is. The multi-agency, the Department of Defense, Treasury, Commerce, the state government, Nuclear Regulatory Commission in Utah all approved that deal, having nothing to do
in Canada, in Wyoming, and the State Department signing off on it while she was Secretary of State.
In here. Thank you.
Donations from foreign governments she did not disclose after promising to do so.
Republicans are using this as and pointing out that this is a convenient and timely distraction from talking about what is a real issue and the risk that Hillary Clinton took on by putting that private server in her home and exchanging classified information.
So when Donald Trump says he wants a foreign agency, a government
which appears to be tongue-in-cheek to many who listen
appears to be tongue-in-cheek, I've just said that anyone watching that knows that he said, I admire Putin, and he invited the Russian, what we know are Russian hackers, to try to come back.
But how do you address the risk that she did put our country at by using that private
At the moment, there isn't a scintilla of evidence, nothing, that anything was compromised on her server. But we know that the State Department...
the risk of that happening.
We know the State Department was hacked. We know the White House was hacked. We know the Commerce Department was hacked. Not one piece of evidence, despite the FBI's thorough search of the hard drive, that anybody hacked that server.
They said they couldn't even retrieve those deleted emails. They couldn't retrieve those deleted emails because they were so thoroughly wiped.
So we're talking about compromise by foreign services, not a scintilla
the hacker. Okay, Guccifer, the hacker who's been associated with the DNC hack, the Russian hacker, he also claims that he got into Hillary Clinton's
server.
You're
behind the news, and you surprised me, Kenny. He said he lied.
You got to move on, guys.
The FBI said Can
the Russian here just make one quick point, which is me? You know who doesn't find this funny? Who doesn't think he's being sarcastic? Vladimir Putin. You know who doesn't have a sense of humor about this and took him at his word? Vladimir Putin.
He's praised Vladimir Putin. Does anyone here disagree that he's praised Vladimir Putin?
Are you worried that Julia Assange has those deleted emails?
Right. Am I worried about her deleted emails? Right. No, I'm not worried about anything because I think Hillary Clinton has a right to privacy.
Right, guys,
no matter what happens, baby, you are a firework. Katy Perry sound checking right now at Wells Fargo at the DNC. Let's check it out.